Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're going to do a pretty chill session today. And I'd like to invite you to join me in a supported bridge to begin with a bit of a heart opener. And if you have blocks and if that feels good to you, you can use those in this setup that you can see here on my mat. You can also do this without blocks. And another alternative is to use blankets rolled up or even a bolster with a block then supporting your head. You can arrange your blocks in kind of a ramp, but whatever version of supported bridge will allow you to come into a centering. And I will be here for just a few minutes. Just demonstrate for a moment as we get started. If you are using a block, you want to have the bottom of the block right about where if you wear brassieres or something like that, where the strap would be. If you don't, just use your imagination. And then the block underneath your head as is comfortable. So just coming into stillness here. Take a few breaths with intention as we begin to center ourselves today and prepare for a practice that hopefully will be grounding as well as energizing. And as you settle in and perhaps take a few of those intentional breaths, as I mentioned, also make sure to give yourself the time to just quiet the breath, quiet the urge to control it, if you will, and just notice the natural progression of the breath. See if that brings up any sensations in the body, maybe a tingling of the hands. Notice the feeling of the soles of the feet touching the mat, the carpet, or whatever is underneath you. And noticing how that relates to your sense of grounding, your root, your connection to Mother Earth, your true essence. So we'll just stay here for a few minutes, letting those sensations come and go, and enjoying that grounding sensation. The invitation at this point is also there to set an intention for your practice today, if you would like to do that. And by practice, we're just referring to this experience. Practice is a word that those who do a lot of yoga and some yoga teachers have applied to engaging in this kind of breath and movement. And it's a use of language that I think is really powerful. And sometimes for me, that's helpful as I'm setting my intention, thinking about the beginner's mindset that I experience when I'm on my mat, when I'm lying down, standing up, sitting, whatever iteration it takes, is that I try to approach it with curiosity. So we'll be here for just a few more moments. And now as we move into our movement practice, the next thing will be to make our way to a constructive rest pose, which is essentially the same pose you're in, except we'll be removing the blocks. So in whatever way is most comfortable for you, you can scooch the blocks out of your way, and you won't be using them today unless you choose to. So you can get rid of them if you don't plan to use blocks for the rest of the practice, which I don't. But again, if you have in your practice a use of blocks, then you might want to keep them nearby, because some of us are finding utility in blocks at certain routine times, and also sometimes at unexpected times. So let's begin a bit of a warm up in constructive rest, and I'll do a bit of demo here. What I invite you to do at this point is to just windshield wiper those legs back and forth, bringing a bit of movement into the body. And when that feels complete, then we're going to do a series of hip and other lower body stretches before we come into some cat-cows, and then moving into some sun salutations. So with that in mind, let's bring the knees into the chest briefly, and just give that nice stretch for the lower back, and maybe rock back and forth if that feels good. And now bringing the left leg back to the ground, the sole of the foot can be on the ground, or if it's comfortable, you can stretch the left leg out as far as feels right for it in this moment. We'll make sure we're not overdoing it. And as you can see, we're maintaining that tug in of the right knee, and just putting some gentle pressure there to allow for that stretch. Taking some intentional breaths here. And really throughout this session, the invitation is to use intentionality and curiosity towards your own breath. As we begin to move a little more quickly, matching breath to movement is something that I find very soothing when I'm moving in a bit more of a flow. And now in stretches like these, I really find a deep inhale and exhale sometimes gives me a little extra kind of release. So again, the invitation is to take those as they suit your body, and later we'll move into some more intentional breath work and do some of that together. Rolling out the ankle tends to feel nice here. And I like to do a little point and flex in this position. And then let's stretch this leg gently, nice and gently. As I say to myself, it's a reminder that stretching it too quickly can cause a cramp. But as the leg speaks to you and tells you where its edge is, just bring it into a bit of stillness, grasping behind the thigh under the hamstring. And this is really a nice hamstring stretch. It's also an opportunity to, for me anyway, I have some heel pain, and as I flex my foot, which you can probably see here, this is a really nice release for me with the muscles down around the ankle into the foot, and then of course connecting to that hamstring all the way up the body. Let's just take another breath here, and then we'll move into that other side. I like to sort of yearn up a little bit. You can probably see me right now. This just gives my core just a little bit of a warm up. When you have more time, you can do some nice crunches like this, but I just like to sort of just look up a bit here, fold inward at the end of this nice hamstring stretch, and then coming back down, maybe with an exhale. And letting the hands go and bringing that sole of that foot back down to the floor on the right side. And then we'll switch. So moving into the left side, bringing the sole left foot to the floor if it's not there already, and then hugging that left knee into the chest in whatever way feels strong enough for you in this moment. It might be just very gentle, or you might really want a big old stretch into that hip flexor. Circling the ankle and pointing and flexing again. It's always the invitation. And in this position for me, it feels really nice to release the ankle that way. And then straightening out the left leg to a degree of comfort. Again, as I mentioned, that also might be very different on this side than it was on the right side. For me, anyway, this side is a little more amenable to a deeper stretch than my right leg. And again, pointing and flexing the foot can be nice. A static flex for a few breaths really help us go deeper into the hamstring here. The important thing, especially because we're at the very beginning of a session and the body might not be warm, we're just getting warm, is to be very gentle and listen to your body. Your leg might look quite bent. That might be the place to be. And listening to your hamstring and the rest of your body as you're playing around with this stretch is exactly what is most useful. So when that side feels complete, let's go into what is known as a supine pigeon. So we're going to start this one on this same side we're on. So the left leg will cross over the ankle, and the left leg will, and left ankle. You can see better than understand what I just misheard. Left ankle resting on right knee. This is a nice stretch just right here, and this might be enough for you. I do this, when I do this quite often, this is not only enough, but feels absolutely delicious. And then if not, if you're feeling like you would like more, you can take the right foot off the ground and begin to pull it back in towards you. You can thread the needle, so to speak, by taking the left hand through the space between your legs and grasping onto the right hand behind the right hamstring. Sometimes feels good to even rock a little bit in this position. And we'll stay here for a few breaths, no matter what position you're in this supine pigeon. It's like such a nice release. When this side feels complete, return that right foot to the ground. It's not already there. Take that left ankle and remove it from the right knee. Maybe give it a little bit of a shake out there at the ankle, and take that left sole down to the floor. And we'll get that on the other side. So right leg comes off the floor, and right ankle goes to left knee. Again, this might be enough. This might be more than enough. It feels like a little bit, for me right now, almost more than enough. But you can also remove your left foot from the floor and do the thread the needle as we did on the other side. And nice deep breaths here at your comfort level. I like to really deeply inhale and exhale on these. The hips store so much stress. And for me, just really intentionally taking some maybe 4 or 5 count breaths in, and then a deep vocal exhale as I'm stretching out the hips here. Excellent. So once this feels complete, we're going to be making our way up to tabletop. And that is something that can look a little different for everyone. So you may want to bring your knees into the chest and rock forward and backward and kind of pop up in an energetic way. That's really useful for some bodies on some days. Sort of at the other end of the energetic spectrum, having the knees roll off to one side, planting the outside hand on the ground and then pushing up is another way, my chosen way in this moment. But whatever, sort of is comfortable for you. And we will meet in tabletop. And here in table, the spine is straight. And we're placing hands under shoulders, thinking about spreading the fingers to the degree that they feel comfortable and strong and grounded into Mother Earth. The knees are under the hips. And I'm rocking a little bit, which you can too, could sort of make it fluid as you begin to settle into table. And we will just really be intentional about our table right now. My invitation to you is to engage the core. Just take a few breaths here as you settle. Just let this be enough. Let's take a deep breath together and then a vocal exhale. Let's inhale on the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Little pause at the top, and then a vocal exhale. And now let's let that flow us nicely into a cow-cat sequence. So offering the heart, arching the back and looking up on the in-breath, and reversing that into a cat back on the exhale. And let's do about 5 rounds of those at our own pace with our own breath. Inhaling to cow and exhaling to cat. Beautiful way to begin our movement practice. Once you've completed your 5, let's meet again in tabletop and stillness. And again, engaging the core. Opportunity here for some balance. So we'll start on the right side of the body with the right arm, picking that up off the floor and shaking out the wrist for a little bit. If your body's anything like mine, the wrists are sensitive. And so we're going to extend the arm forward from the shoulder. Fingers are sparked. Thumb is pointing up towards the ceiling. And really engaging here with the arm. Not straining. Keep that shoulder nice and loose, but let the arm be strong and energetic. And once you're settled there, then let's lift up the left leg and start with looking up onto the toe box, and then bringing that left leg airborne, flexing the foot, tightening in the core, and breathing here. We'll stay here for 3 breaths. At our own pace, just feeling that sense of challenge, of balance, and of curiosity. Such a beautiful but basic set of moves. So once you've completed those 3 deep, strong breaths, returning the limbs to the floor. And let's get that on the other side. So taking that left arm and extending it out, thumb points to ceiling. Strong energy in the arm and sparking those fingers, and the shoulder stays relaxed. Nice and precise. Engaging the core. Let's extend the right foot out, coming up onto the toe box. And just picking it up nice and gently, flexing the toes, pointing them towards Mother Earth, engaging the core, and thinking about that hip on the right side pointing down. This is where the challenge comes. This is where the strength comes. So let's take one more breath here. And back to ground. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Let's take some hip circles. Clockwise 3 times and counterclockwise 3 times. Oh, that's a nice way to just have a little transition in the body before we move on to our next phase, which is going to be, we're going to come slowly at your own pace into a down dog. And then once you're in down dog, I'll just mind briefly and then tell you a little more about where we're going. So coming into your down dog, what we'll do here is just a very quick but juicy set of sun salutations. And as you're in the dog, maybe your first dog of the day, maybe not. This is a perfect time to really check in. Maybe pedaling the feet, bending and straightening the elbows, letting the head dangle. But most importantly, just feeling, how does the body feel in this inverted position? Where's the breath? And as we come into stillness here, coming back to that intention. And if we didn't set an intention, that's cool. Maybe just coming to presence, right? What am I feeling? Where's my head? Where's my breath? How's my body feeling? We're about halfway through this session. Just letting whatever is there be there. It might be impatience, it might be fatigue, it might be joy, it might be curiosity. Point is to embrace it, or at least acknowledge it. And now walking our feet and hands together in whatever way is comfy for you. I know a lot of us have a routine practice where we engage in this kind of movement. So just getting to forward fold at your comfort zone. And we'll hang here in forward fold for a few minutes before coming into just a nice sun sal routine before we head back down to the ground. So let's slowly make our way up to standing. And just shake out the hands for a moment. Just acknowledge what we've been doing. Just really working it out here today. And now let's take a nice deep breath together, bringing the hands up towards the sky, coming back into a forward fold, and letting the head dangle. And on your next inhale, let's come to halfway lift. Exhaling down to forward fold again. And on the next inhale, let's come all the way up, bringing the hands up, reaching towards the sky, exhaling, hands to namaste, and back down by your sides to mountain pose. Let's just take a moment in mountain. What a powerful, vulnerable pose at the same time this is. I'm so grateful that you've joined me in this session today. And now that we have cleared the decks with a bit of flow, very little bit today, maybe next time we'll do a little bit more, but the invitation is to come back down to ground, and just in whatever way is comfy for you, we're going to come into a very short cool down. I'd like to invite you to come into a comfortable seat. So whatever that looks like for you. And we are going to, as we're in our seat, and it doesn't matter which one, but whichever leg you have in the front, let's take that foot and place it on the opposite knee. And what we're coming into, it's a little hard to see my feet from this angle, but we're coming into a seated pigeon. And here's where you might want blocks. I promise you we won't need the blocks again, but some people use blocks in seated pigeon. And you can put a block under the knee, the top knee, if that's helpful. And you might also even want to sit on a block. Sometimes that's really nice for folks. But in whatever way seated pigeon looks for you, let's take an inhale together, and then we're gonna fold for just a moment. So nice long inhale on the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands up and engaging the core and stretching the hands forward as we just lean forward gently, gently, gently. And when we feel that edge, then we let the hands drop, let the head dangle. Doesn't matter where you've landed. Just let the body relax and enjoy that stretch. Take a couple of breaths here, and then we'll get that on the other side. Walking the hands back towards the body, letting the torso come back up. We will stay right here, except we'll switch the feet. So whatever way, again, is comfy for you, we're going to take the opposite leg to the top and get this on the other side. Again, blocks, if they're helpful to you, or even a towel or piece of clothing can go under the top knee, sometimes to allow for more of an opening. Another way to modify this is to have the legs be in a configuration that isn't utterly at right angles. So in your own body, you'll know what I mean if that's more comfortable for you to scooch those knees around so that you're in a more comfortable and pliable position with the muscles. But the kind of peak, if you will, or the maximum edge of this pose is to have the knees at right angle. Mine don't quite go there. They're a little bit, so my left leg is on top right now, and my right leg is leaning back a little bit towards my body. So yeah. Let's take a deep breath together as we lift the arms towards the sky, hands pointing towards the sky. And on the exhale, then we'll lean forward again and just get this beautiful stretch on the other side. Couple of really nice hip openers today in this short time together. And this is a juicy, lovely last one of the day. So let's come into our centering as we begin to come towards the end of our time together. Invitation to sit in whatever way is feeling like the way you'd like to close out your practice today. So that could be very similar to where you've ended up in this modified pigeon. You might want to scooch the feet just a little bit as I'm doing. You might want to take a block underneath the seat. And if you would prefer, you can also come to your back. But let's just bring the hands to the knees. Hands can be It can be down or up. Down is more grounding. Palms up is more opening, letting energy come in. Whatever you feel you need in this moment, please take it. And then what I'd like you to do is close the eyes if that's comfortable for you. And imagine, if you will, a ball of light in each hand. And that you could be having that, you can think of that ball, whether your palms are up or down. So there's a ball of light that's connected to the palm of your hand. Your palms are down, it's also connected to your knees. Your palms are up. It's right there in the palm of your hand. And that ball of light is the intention that you set today. If you didn't set an intention, which is totally fine, that ball of light is your potential. It's your dharma, your essence. And together, let's take our palms, and if they're not facing up, let's lift them up. And together, let's bring them into a cupping arrangement in front of our chest. And while we sit here cupping our dharma, our essence, let's take some deep intentional breaths together. Let's inhale on the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. And now a nice slow exhale on 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll do that twice more. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling one last time. 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhaling. 4, 3, 2, 1. And now I invite you to take this ball of light that is in your hands and just bring it towards the heart space. And imagine that it's just melting. It's just melting into that heart space. And you don't need to worry or think about what happens to it next. It's just where it needs to be. Maybe bring a smile to the lips, laying the palms as they feel comfortable on the body, perhaps the right hand down and left over it. And now let's bring the palms together at heart center and let's rub them together, make a little energetic movement here, bring some warmth. Bring the palms in front of the eyes, let that seep in. And then we'll slowly trace the palms down the face and then back to heart center. Let's bring the hands to the third eye. The light in me and the shadow in me honors the light and shadow in you. May all beings be at peace and experience their own essence and potential moment by moment, day by day. And may we all remember that we are connected. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate everyone thinking about giving feedback if you would like to, no matter when you're watching this, whether it's 2021 or some other time. I really would be grateful for feedback, and I'm so grateful for everyone who sees this, and just know that with this being my very first recorded session, solo, live, no practice, yeah, one take. It was a special experience for me, and I hope that you know how much it means to me that you've been with me in one way or another. So, thanks.